Welcome to the Tissue Box Podcast. I'm your host, Pam Jordan. To another episode of the Tissue Box Podcast. I'm your host, Pam Jordan. Here with me today, I am so excited to have our guest, Mr. Rodney Crawford. How are you?
I'm doing fine, and yourself?
I am doing well. So happy that you are here today. I thank you so much for taking the time out to join the podcast today and share your story. Here at the Tissue Box, we're changing trauma's narrative. We really want to delve deep into our Black men and trauma, wellness, mental illness, mental well-being. So again, so happy to have you here today. And I know this conversation is going to be good. I'm already getting excited about it. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Rodney Crawford. I'm from Paterson, New Jersey. I was born in Paterson, New Jersey, but I was raised in Florence, South Carolina.
Okay.
But I could say back and forth because I'm 46 years old, and I say I spent 20 plus years in both places.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So what do you do for fun, Mr. Rodney Crawford?
What I do for fun, like most guys, I play video games because I used to play sports when I was in high school. So my body is not, built to play sports no more, so I got to do it on the game.
So you're a video game junkie? Probably.
Yeah, I do that to relieve stress.
Yeah.
Video games.
You like sports too? What's your favorite NFL team?
Philadelphia. Yes.
Okay. All day?
All day.
Nice. So we're going to get into our conversation today, and we want to talk about trauma and healing, trauma and triumph over trauma. So is there a trauma that you would like to share today that you triumphed over? Because that's the whole goal, that's the purpose. So whatever you feel comfortable with sharing, that's what we want to hear from you today. So whatever that may be.
Well, I was going to speak on my father today.
Okay.
Because I thought that would be a good subject because that's something that I triumph. Being that, I think ever since I know my father, when I got a good memory of my father, he was confined to a wheelchair. So him being confined to a wheelchair is like...
How old were you?
When he first went in a wheelchair, probably 5 or 6 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, with him being in a wheelchair, you look for different father figures because the only reason I had to look towards my cousins and stuff like that is being my father figure because my father wasn't physically able to teach me how to ride a bike, teach me how to play basketball, fix cars, do men things. So I had to look up to my cousins. And when I look up to my cousins was doing a lot of negative things, but that was what they was doing was being as people looked up to that.
Really?
Other family members looked up to that. Like aunties and stuff, such and such doing this and this, but he doing good, you know what I mean? So it's I felt like they were, in my mind, they was idolizing it. You know what I mean? So
what did that do to you? You're 6 years old. Your dad is now confined to a wheelchair, right? So up until that point, when your dad got ill and confined to the wheelchair, how was your relationship with him when he was able to walk?
I had a close relationship with my father. I don't remember quite staying with my father, but I remember seeing a lot of him. He wasn't out of distance where if I wanted to talk to him or see him, I couldn't do it.
Okay.
So yeah. And plus my cousins was it was his nephews and stuff like that. So I used to go hang with them and, hear them talk about my father and stuff like that and see my father come around. I remember my father being there every Christmas, every birthday, far as I can remember when I was young, while he was walking.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when he got ill and confined to the wheelchair, what did you understand what was happening at the time? You're 6 years old.
Yeah, not first. I didn't understand. I just knew my father was sick and he couldn't walk. I didn't know. I probably thought it was a broken leg or something like that. I didn't know that my father wasn't never gonna be able to walk again. That never came through my mind.
When did you understand that he would never walk again?
When years start going by and he started driving, I mean, he wanted to drive, so he was getting this little machine thing so was able to drive his car. So once he got that, I'm like, this ain't gonna get better, because you preparing like to live your life, you know what I mean, doing it. You're preparing for what you're gonna do. So it's like, nah, you're not gonna ever get better. You're not gonna walk again.
So what kind of conversations did you have with your dad at that point? Because yes, he's not mobile anymore, but he still can communicate with you. How was that tense at some times? How was that? Was it a free flowing communication with him? How did that go?
You gotta think, like, I was young, so my father not really having. If he had a conversation with me, I wasn't understanding it. And then if he was telling me a conversation, I wouldn't understand. I was young. I was
Right.
7, and at that age, I was too young to understand anything.
So do you feel that you were deprived? Do you feel like
Yeah, because even though I had 2 parents, it always felt like I had a single parent.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So basically, everything I learned was from my mother and my cousins. You know, I was thinking about that. Me and my father never had a real conversation, like
Really?
a real detailed conversation. Like I said, I was too young. We never had the birds and the bees conversation. We never had how people would take advantage of you and stuff like that. We never had no type of conversations like that. All our conversations was about stuff on TV and stuff like that, and more like depressing stuff, like, oh man, when telling me what he used to do when he could walk. And that's when I seen the pain in him.
Wow.
When you keep reminiscing about when
Your
you
past,
could walk,
yeah,
and you
when-
can't talk about your future.
That's deep.
Yeah.
And how old were you when your father passed away?
I was like 12 when my father passed away.
So knowing everything up until this point, your father in the wheelchair at 6 years old, and his passing when you were 12 years old. How did that make you? Do you remember what you felt during that time? Were you able to grieve for your dad? Were you in an angry place? Where were you during this time? Mentally.
It's kind of crazy because,
And you're 12.
yeah, at 12 years old, I probably was 11 or 12. I can't remember, but I know I was going to Briggs. And the reason why I know I was going to Briggs because my father was at, you remember where Bruce Hospital was at?
Yeah, yeah.
My father was in Bruce Hospital. And I'm from Brook Green. So the bus doesn't go to Brook Green, the Briggs bus. It drops you off somewhere by like Second Loop, somewhere up in that area. Every day, I used to walk to the hospital, you know what I mean, to see my father.
Wow.
And just to see him just keep on getting weaker and weaker every time I go see him, and not knowing whether like he was gonna be there the next time I'm like that.
What does that do to a 12-year-old who looks up to his dad?
Yeah, yeah.
And then, so where did that leave you emotionally and mentally? Were you angry? Did you act out when I don't want to take you back to a very sad place, but the funeral, was it here in Florence or was it in Patterson?
They took him back to Patterson.
Okay.
Yeah. Mentally, I didn't know what to think, because when he passed on the. All right, you know how somebody can be going through so much pain that for me not to let him go, that would have been selfish of me, because he was going through so much pain, and I knew he was going through so much pain. Like, he was like, I'd rather not be here. You know
He
what I
said
mean?
that to you?
He didn't say that to me, but his actions.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. He wasn't strong at that time.
So did you take on some of that pain that your father, that
Yes,
you felt that he was?
I felt sorry for him, because I know that like he couldn't take care of me like he wanted to. He couldn't take care of my mother like he wanted to. He couldn't be there as a husband. He really couldn't be there as a father. So I think that made him feel less than a man. You know, like, dog, I can't do nothing for my family. Because that's how I would feel. Because, like I said, perception, I'm putting myself in his shoes. And that's how I would have felt.
Wow.
You know.
So how did you pick up the pieces from that? I mean, surely you still think, do you still think about your father? Do you still miss what you could have had with him?
Yeah.
And you feel like, you know, you see your friends or, you know, folks hanging out with their dad. And how does that make you feel? Do you feel a sadness? Does a sadness come upon you when you see that? Or how, or do you have happy memories of him? Or do you see just the pain that he was in before he left?
Yeah, I see the pain that he was in, but I had a cousin. Me and him both lost our father. So it's like a lot of my cousins didn't have their fathers. Things happened to them, you understand what I'm saying? So it was like a norm. It was like, but when it happened to me, it was like, oh man, you know what I mean? So I just latched on to my mother more, and I latched on to my cousins. That was basically it. That's how I dealt with it.
Wow.
And I played sports, you know.
So if your dad was here right now, would he be proud of who you are?
Yeah, yes. I think he'd be proud of me who I am now. Yes.
That's good. You have kids?
Yes, I have kids. I have 5.
So what are you sons?
Yes, I have 2. I have 3 sons and 2 daughters.
Okay.
Yes.
So how are you forming relationships with your sons? Does it play in the back of your mind when you communicate with your sons specifically about the trauma that you experienced with your dad, and does that make you want to love on them even more? Does that make you want to go harder for them? How does all of that make you feel? How does your dad play a role in how you're raising your sons?
Because I try to be more like I try to give them the things that I didn't have, like teaching Jeremiah how to ride a bike, going to Jordan practices, playing one-on-one with him, all the things that my father couldn't do with me. You know what I mean? I try to do with them. And I try to have conversations. Like, I'm so in a rush to have conversations with Jordan, but I know he's not available. He don't understand what I'm saying. So I really try to talk to Jabril, because you got to think, when I had Jabril, me not growing up with a father, and then me having a child, but don't know how to be a father to the child that I'm having.
Ooh.
You understand?
Ooh.
So it's like
that's good,
that's
right?
really like my little brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. You're raising him like your little.
Like we're growing up together. Really,
right.
You know?
Because you didn't have that father figure. You didn't have your father in your life. You really didn't know how to be a father.
Right. So I'm learning everything on the fly.
Yeah.
Like everything on the fly. And you got to make so many mistakes. So many mistakes, not knowing how to be a man. Like, mistakes with women, mistakes with the streets, mistakes with everything. And now I got to learn for myself. Some mistakes, you can't take back.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, mistake after mistake after mistake.
Then the cousins that I'm listening to, they're telling me either how they act or how they want me to act. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how they trying to raise me, like that. So it's
but
like
something is telling you different, though, right?
Not until I made the mistakes. See, they was telling me to do stuff, and I'm doing it, and it's getting me in trouble. You understand what I'm saying? I wasn't even that type of person, but, my father's last words like, Rodney, make sure you take care of your mother. Boom. My thing is take care of your mother, because back in the day, only thing with money, financially, I'm a kid. You know what I mean? So I'm trying instant gratification. So instant gratification, and I see all my cousins do it. So now I'm doing it. And now I'm thinking I'm helping my mother, but I'm really not helping my mother. I'm really hurting her. You know what I mean? Because everybody want to be the one buy their mother a house, do this for their mother, do this for their mother. But I was going about it the wrong way, but didn't understand at the time.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand. And then your cousins be like, oh, you ain't never been to jail before. You can't do that. You a mama's boy. You ain't mama's boy. So that make you even try to latch out worse. You trying to be a man.
Man, right.
Yeah. So this is what I'm thinking a man being about since that. And you know what I mean? Me being, yeah.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
It mess you up. So me trying to be so much like them got me in a place where now I'm messed up. You know what I mean? But everything's happened for a reason.
Right. So how did you get out of that mess?
I left.
Okay, good for you.
He told me, I told the judge, I said, man, you let me off parole, like you'll never see me again. And I really meant that.
Yeah.
Because I was tired of the back and forth stuff, you know what I mean? And as I'm in jail, I got 5 kids. I started having kids at 14, so now I'm missing years out my kids' life. You know what I mean? Fortunately, when I came home, none of my kids called other men daddy, because I feel like that's the most hurting feeling in the world, for your child to call somebody else dad. It's like I can't name nothing that's worse than that to me.
Wow.
That would hurt me. So I'm glad I kept a relationship with all of them, and I'm glad that I'm finished with that. So I know, I never end up there again.
Yeah. So okay. I feel you. So are you trying to steer your boys down a different path? Of course, you don't want them to make the same mistakes that you made. You're trying to be there for them and be a presence in their life, somebody that they can confide in and talk to when they need to, which is what you really didn't have. You were kind of deprived of that in your life. And you said you had other people in your ear, that were not necessarily telling you the right thing to do, but it was right in their minds because that's all they knew.
Exactly.
And that's the whole thing of these, generational curses that we're trying to break, because it's a whole cycle that we go through, and we don't even realize that it's happening. And before you look up, we're in some mess that we can't get out of.
Yeah, that's why having a dysfunctional family is a bad thing. Like not having the father present or not having the mother present. Like that's why as a family, it's supposed to be both of them.
Right.
You got to get information from both of them, because if one missing, something's gonna be wrong with that child. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow. Did you think something was wrong with you though?
Yes, I'm too like my mother.
Oh,
like
really?
I get.
What do you mean by that?
I get real emotional, and it's like I let people get by with a lot of stuff. You understand? Like I'm soft-hearted. That's what I say. I'm like soft-hearted, and I think just like my mother. That's why my mother always like, yeah, Rodney, yeah. Like she my yes person, because I think just like her.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And then, yeah.
You think that you have to be tough?
No, it's just things that happened through my life where I was supposed to man up, but I didn't man up because my mother raised me a certain type of way. She didn't raise me to be violent. She didn't raise me. She raised me to stand up for myself. But being that I was in the streets at the time, I'm looking towards my cousins. Me being in the streets and being raised by a woman, it's not a good combination. Just put it like that.
I see where you're going.
Exactly.
I see where you're going with that.
With females being pregnant, and it's just a whole bunch. I felt that you're not supposed to have no emotion while you're doing that. That's not the job for you if you're real emotional. It's not.
So what did you learn from your experience, your time behind bars? What did you learn from that?
I learned a lot of patience. I learned a lot of patience, and the thing that I always kept in my mind, because I used to ride forklifts when I was in prison. They used to pay me 35 cents an hour.
Wow.
So I was thinking like, dog, man, if I'm getting paid 35 cents an hour, there's something that I could be doing on the street. You know what I mean? And because when I was doing what I was doing, all the money that I made, I didn't accomplish nothing.
Wow.
I got a job right now, and I think I'm on child support for 2 of my children. So the little bit of money I got right now is like I did more things with that little bit of money than I did with the drug money. you know.
See?
And I it's crazy, but that's how it is.
Wow. That's because you've grown. That's
Yeah.
because you've learned. It's a process. It's a process. But once you start understanding and see what back then you didn't understand.
Right.
You had so much trauma going on in your life at the time that you didn't understand what was happening. It was like everything was unraveling, right? All at one time. But you had to go through that experience to get yourself together.
Right.
Right? It's something you had to go through to grow. And we all have to go through things to grow, right? And so you're still healing from all of this, or how are you right now? Where are you in your mind space right now? Do you feel like I'm whole?
Yeah, but I also was thinking about going to therapy because this is actually the first time I ever talked about this to anybody. I ain't never really talked about this to anybody.
Well, this is a safe space.
Yeah.
This is a safe space. And we as women, we have to do more of listening to our men. That's one of the reasons why they don't share,
Right.
because of the fear. You know, we take it and we run with it. We judge them, we condemn them. We, talk bad about them. But it's a safe space. You got to be able, and I'm just hoping that more women will understand when men come to them and they're vulnerable and they release and they talk and they share information. Just like you said, you haven't talked about this before.
Right.
That's because you feel comfortable in this space to talk about what you're talking about. So our women, we have to be supportive. And that's the message that I want to get out. And I'm so glad that you are talking about your feelings, because the feelings, talking about it, leads to healing. And we want you to be whole. We want you to be there for your children. We want you to be whole for your children. And the more we suppress the feelings, and it's so much harder for men to get it out than women. We talk all day. You know it.
Yeah.
We'll talk and share our feelings all day. But men, it's like, just like you said earlier, you felt like you had to man up. Typically, most men feel like that. And they feel like these feelings aren't real feelings. And I'm not allowed to share my feelings. I'm not allowed to understand what it is that I'm feeling because I got to be the man.
Right.
Do you find like most of the guys in your circle feel that way? Do they have the kind of attitude like, I'm the man and I'm not talking to anybody about my feelings,
Right.
I'm not going to therapy. I'm not, yeah.
All men felt, especially the people that hang around, because we like real jokey type. Like, I could tell when a person telling me something serious, but some people can't, you know what I mean? And for you to be confiding in the person and they joke about it or say something, it do something to you,
So you said that you're considering therapy?
No, I said I used to consider, because...
Not no more?
Oh, yeah, still, because I do want to talk, because it's different. All right, you said female. You're talking to a female. Only thing some females going to do is, I got to watch my words when I say
yes,
female.
you do.
Yeah. They're going to listen to me.
Right.
They're going to vent. Mm-hmm. But as I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you, you don't really understand. Like, not you per se.
Right.
I'm saying you don't really understand what I'm going through. You don't really you don't got no answers to give me on why I feel like this.
Ooh.
You understand what I'm saying? Because it's certain... To watch somebody die, do you know what it is to like sit there and watch somebody die, just to watch them just wither away from a healthy person to, you know what I mean, and just watch them just go? That's the worst feeling. Like, yeah, because now I think about it, keep thinking about how they, you know what I mean? But when he died, like, I was like, I didn't feel bad because I did everything that I could do. You know what I mean? I made the time that we spent together the best of it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
But so did any of those feelings or emotions come out as anger? Or were you ever angry?
No. Only time I would get angry is like you know, when people talk about their father and stuff like that, and you don't have the story to tell about your father.
Right.
The story I got to tell about my father is not exciting. It's like the episode with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. He said, well, my father did this, but my father... Yeah, I can't even have that conversation. No, man. But thank God for my mother. My mother, she did the best that she could.
Yeah.
And yeah, God put people there for certain reasons.
Oh,
man,
absolutely.
She's a strong woman.
Yeah.
She was a good daddy and a good mama.
A good daddy and a good mama. I like that.
She did that. She did
There are so many of us out there like that, and we're trying to do the right things by our sons, because I had two that I raised single-handedly, and you try to overcompensate, for the other parent not being there. Yeah. So, but yeah, when we, I don't know how we do it, but we do it. It's just basic instinct that we try to do the best for our kids. And there were times then that, when I was going through what I was going through with my sons, there were times that I didn't even eat.
Right.
Because I knew they had to. It was the struggle was real.
Right. And
but
you don't know about it till you get older.
Right.
You have kids.
Yeah.
And the sacrifices that you got to make and stuff like that, you don't see it as a young kid.
You don't.
You don't. That's why when I talk to my kids sometimes, I don't get mad when they don't understand what I'm saying, because I didn't want to, get out of here, I don't want to hear that. Until I got older, then I was like, dog, that's the stuff that I should be listening to.
Right.
But it makes it better because my kids know what I've been through. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not like nobody, like I was telling you, I'm not just listening to you. I can give you feedback because I done been there. You know what I mean? I got grandkids. I could tell you where this life leads you, and I could tell you where this life leads you also.
Wow.
Right.
You just gotta hope and pray that they listen, because we've all been in that position before. When we're younger, we think we know everything. We don't want anybody to tell us anything. And as parents, we try to prevent you from going down a path that we know is not good for you, but you don't want to listen because you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you don't really get it typically until you're older and mature. You got to live a little bit, before you get there.
That's why I wish they just take that word out. Experience is the best teacher. No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. You don't have to go through everything. You don't have to go through everything to learn. You can see somebody else, what I mean, go through something and you can learn from that.
That's good, yeah.
So experience is not the best teacher, no.
Wow. But sometimes that experience, though, if you hard-headed, sometimes you have to run into that brick wall before you actually get it. You have to be humbled,
Yeah, you do.
Because we're hard-headed. We are.
But me, I had to make every mistake. I had to make it was. You'll never think how crazy it is. Like, oh, you couldn't survive in jail. You're a mama's boy. I actually really wanted to go to jail just to prove that I could survive.
Rodney, no.
Yeah.
Are you serious right now?
Just to prove that I could survive. That's just how I thought. You understand what I'm saying? I want to do everything that y'all say I can't do because I'm a mama's boy and I wasn't raised by my, a father, to make y'all know that I'm tough. I'm like y'all. You understand what I'm saying? And to think of how stupid it was.
But it wasn't stupid to you at the time,
It wasn't
though.
stupid to me at the time. I just wanted to prove that I could be a man on my, on my own. You understand? I don't know why I thought like that, but I did. Yeah.
Wow. Because I was going to ask you, where do you think that thought process came from? I think maybe it was the fact that your dad wasn't around, and you were trying to prove maybe that you were the man, and then to hear your cousin say, well, you're not the man, that made you want to be the man even more.
Because I used to see some of my cousins take care of their mother doing the negative things. You know what I mean? So, like, take care of their mother, like buying them groceries and stuff like that, buying them new clothes, new TVs for Christmas and stuff. I wasn't selling, doing nothing at that time. I couldn't show I bought my mother a flat screen TV. You know what I mean? Seeing them do it and know how they getting it, it's like, let me try to do the same thing. But it wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
And I didn't understand that till they said, well, if you keep getting caught, you're not good at it. Yeah, I wasn't good at it. I was out my lane.
But you learned from that.
Yeah, I learned from it.
Definitely
Got through it and learned.
triumph over
Yes.
trauma. You know, it's something that you had to go through. But look at you.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is learning from it and sharing and talking about it, because you could save someone's life just by sharing what you shared with us today.
Yeah.
Do you understand how serious that is?
Yeah, because people take what they need from people conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so happy that you were vulnerable enough and comfortable enough to share, because I know how tough it is.
Right.
You know, there's some things that nobody knows about me. You know what I'm saying? And it's I feel like if when I'm ready to, I will. But I up until this point, it's safe with me. But between me and God.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody don't need to know everything. I get that. I really do. But when it comes to something that is affecting your mental well-being,
Right.
you need to talk.
But I just wish it was just one person.
Yeah.
I could tell. I'm talking about everything too, because it's like weights when you keep secrets. You
Who
understand
you
what I'm saying?
telling?
Like, I just wish it was, but it's not a person. Like, it's some things, like my mother's my favorite person. It's some things that I can't even tell my mother.
That's
That
my
be
point
on my
exactly.
mind.
There's
but
stuff.
I be wishing I could tell somebody.
Yeah.
I can't. You know, I can't. I gotta keep it to myself. Because I don't know how they'll take it. I don't know how they'll look at me. I just can't trust people with that certain type of information.
Well, Jesus knows. I tell him.
Yeah.
He knows. I just, you know. And the thing about it is, you know, how you release that feeling, because sometimes that feeling can just be overwhelming. You know, that feeling of wanting to talk and wanting to share. It can eat away at you, you know, and do some destructive things.
Yeah.
But you got to have a release some way to offset it, you know, whether that's meditation, whether that's taking a walk or going to read a book, or, you know, if you don't want to talk, you
Right.
see where I'm going with this?
I write a lot of my feelings out. Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
So you're a writer.
Yeah, I be writing a lot. It used to be rap, and now I got older. Now it's just turning to writing.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do you keep like a journal, or is it just pages that you just write sometimes when you're in a type of...
Believe it or not, I keep it all in my head, and I'm just every it seems like every time I lose a page, every year I get older, I lose a page. But I remember most of them. But yeah, I lose a page every now and then.
Oh. Well, that's good though, that you can release that. That's
Different outlets. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
want to keep it bottled up, because a person can get you can get angry at the wrong person for keeping stuff bottled in. So
and that's
just
the
release
whole
it.
the whole point and the
Yeah.
whole purpose of talking and sharing, because sometimes somebody can be at the end of something, the receiving end of something that wasn't meant for them,
Right.
because you're in an angry space, you know. So yeah, it's super important to talk, and I'm glad that you're talking. I'm glad that you're sharing. I'm glad that you're writing to release, and I'm glad that you're in a better space right now. You would say you're in a better space, right?
Yeah, much better space.
Yeah, you got your kids. You're in their lives. You're working steady. You know, think things are going okay.
Yes. It's like I just did a total 360.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you attribute that to? Did you just life and growing and
Because
learning?
I got older, and then I seen people doing the same thing that was doing the negative stuff. The same thing that they doing, the people that was doing the right thing was doing also. I just wasn't seeing that often. But then when I start seeing that people that do negative stuff, the people that do positive stuff can have the same thing that these people have,
Yes.
without going to jail and
Ding, ding,
this.
ding.
You know what I mean? I said, oh, you know something? All right. I'm going to try to make this legal thing better, like do it better. Like,
Right, because
Yeah.
all you were seeing though was the negative at the time.
Exactly.
And that had you
So
so
that's all
blinded.
I had to look up to.
Right, that it had you so blinded you couldn't see the good things that were happening that other people were doing.
hmm
Right?
And it seemed like during that time, it's like, all the movies was like that. Like Scarface start doing
know.
this to do his mother. Lil Fresh start doing this and saved his mother. Everybody saving their mother by doing this negative stuff. They never show really. Lil Ricky, he was playing football. He said he was gonna take care of his mother. What they did to Lil Ricky, they killed Lil Ricky. You know what I mean?
Why kill Lil Ricky?
What movie that you know where somebody did something positive, you know what I mean, to take care of their mother? We're not talking about a basketball movie, 1 in a million people. We're talking about somebody
Like
doing,
every day,
exactly.
just every day, Joe Blow and Sally Sue.
You don't know no movie like that, really. All of them was doing something negative to take care of their mother. The little black boy doing something negative to take care of his mother. Yeah.
There's a pattern. That's a definite pattern with that. So we got to break these curses and generational curses. So we encourage you to have regular conversations with your sons. We got to start when they're young, you know, and be in their lives and try to create an atmosphere that is conducive to learning and, you know, getting to a higher level, right?
Right.
Yeah. And you're doing that. I'm so proud of you.
I'm trying my best. Trying my best.
So what's next for you? What kind of plans do you have for you and the rest of your life?
Family business. I'm thinking about some landscaping in my neighborhood and stuff, but I'm waiting until my son come home so we can do it the right way.
Look at you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Rodney, for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
I really do appreciate your transparency and your vulnerability and your willingness to share. I know some things were tough to talk about, and I know there were some things that you shared that you haven't talked about. So I really, really appreciate that, genuinely, and I hope you know that I mean that.
I know.
Yeah.
I look nervous though.
No.
I was nervous a little bit.
Nah, you're good. You did good. I'm so glad that you were here today. So we hope to have you back. We're working on some big things for the Tissue Box podcast, and we certainly want to have you back on the show.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that wraps things up for this episode of the Tissue Box podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you share. And until next time. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe, leave rating, and a review. And let's stay connected. Visit thetissuebox.com to join our mailing list. Until next time.